Action in New York is a Contra-style shoot-'em-up for the NES. It was released as SCAT in Europe, but I wasn't going to Google image that to get the box art, so let's call it Action in New York. You get to choose from two characters who don't have any differences other than the colour of their awesome clothes. This is really just for the two-player co-op side of the game. That's right, if you're lucky enough to have a friend, you can play this with them. So it's a side-scrolling shooter. The first thing you'll notice is the similarity to Contra. The graphics, the enemies, the sound effects are all extremely familiar. It feels almost identical to play, and this is by no means a bad thing. However, I'm going to refrain from all the references and comparisons to Contra, so let's just say it's similar. The controls in the game are very smooth, and you can quite easily dodge the barrage of enemy fire that is coming towards you, if you could see it, that is. The game does seem to have a big problem with the old NES flicker, you see. When there's too much going on the screen, there is a huge amount of flicker, meaning that bullets, power-ups and even enemies can at times completely vanish, meaning that while you can make a valiant attempt to dodge all of the bastards, a lot of them you can't even see. This can make the game quite frustrating in places, as you do only get one life before it's a game over. Even though on the map screen it shows you having 6 life, but this is actually just referring to the health up in the top left hand corner of the screen. Other than the flicker though, the graphics aren't too bad. Fairly standard for a NES shooter, with the usual enemy types, and even the bosses could be considered standard. The biggest complaint is really the variety in stages. Sure, in some of them the screen does scroll vertically instead of horizontally, but they all look like they're taking place in the same strange warehouse or dilapidated city. You get a variety of weapons in the game. Your standard pea shooter, a laser gun, fireball style plasma thingy, which is my personal favourite, and a bomb shot, which although is very powerful, has such a slow firing rate it's only really useful on the bosses. You also have a pair of balls that you have control over, which you can get them to either circle around you firing in all directions, or you can tell them exactly where you want them to sit and fire. This comes in very handy when you get used to it, as you can fire behind you as well as ahead of you. This comes in very useful for the boss fights. So while Action in New York isn't the most original game, it is a solid shooter. It's tough, as pretty much all NES games are, and it is a good alternative to Contra if you've played that one to death. Just look out for the invisible bullets. Fucking damn flicker.